Hello and welcome to the Grumpy Gobbler channel. My name's Noah. Today we're going to talk about my SPOD Bantam, how I set it up, what I think about it, and we'll talk a little bit about my Baja Designs lights that I have around my 4Runner. Thanks for joining. Alright, this is my SPOD Bantam. This is where I have the touchscreen. They do have a different screen. They're the same price really. That has more like switches. These switches are configurable, and they are related to the SPOD Bantam itself, which is under the hood. And so this switch right here where it says all front is actually switch number 1 on the Bantam unit itself. And so this is how I chose to do it. Unfortunately, I kind of have this backwards. I really should have the front lights all up top and the rear lights on the bottom, but I have it backwards and I just haven't gotten around to changing because I have to rewire and just wire from one side to the other. And one of the cool things about the SPOD Bantam is you can link switches. And so if I have all front here, I have all my front lights set to this one switch. So I can hit this one switch and all my front lights turn on. That is a really cool thing. And so I can just do it at one touch of one button, turn on all my lights. You can configure these to flash, strobe, or they can be momentary switches. And you can do that here in the setup. So you can see, and for example, my bumper lights, I can rename it up here. And if I click switch features, I can turn on strobe or flash. You can't do both, obviously. I can make it a momentary switch, and I can make it dimmable. So if you want to be able to dim your lights, so if you have like side lights that you use for camping or something like that, you could dim them. And you have 3 lines of text, you can rename them. So out of the setup menu, you can see on the top row I have my all front lights. Seeing that's kind of configured wrong because all front is on the same row as all my rear lights, if I could speak English, and my right lights. So on the rear I have a rear white and a rear fog. I purposely wired them separately so I don't have to turn them both on at the same time, because sometimes I just want to run my rear fog if I'm out off-roading with somebody and I just want them to be able to see me better. I'm just turn on my rear fog. If I need the light to actually see, then I turn on my rear white. So typically if I'm backing up and it's pitch black, I just turn on my rear white. Sometimes I turn them both on, as it adds a lot of light back there, and you don't have to rely on your wimpy reverse lights. On the bottom row I have my bumper lights, ditch lights, and my fog lights. Another thing I did is Baja Designs has a kit where you can wire your fog lights to your factory harness. And to turn on the fog lights, you have to have your headlights on. I wanted to be able to turn on my fog lights without turning on my headlights. So I wired them actually to the Bantam instead of using that Baja Designs kit. They're wire adapters that go from the Toyota harness to the Baja Designs harness. So instead, I can just turn these on, and that helps in snow. So I don't have to have my white lights on. I could just have my fog lights on in the snow, and that keeps the light low, and there's not white light shining up high, reflecting off the snow. So that works a lot better. And like I said, this is all front. I have 2 right lights on the right hand side of here. I have a right red and a right white. It's a little hard to say. Say that 3 times fast. And so I have red, so it may be less attractive to bugs, and it's a little bit less harsh light. So if I'm camping, I have my awning out and I just want a little bit of light, but I don't want it bright and annoying, then I just use the right white or right red. I am going to change those lenses. They don't make a red scene lens. Baja Designs doesn't. They only make a amber scene lens and a white scene lens. And so I'm going to be changing those lenses on my right lights. So the red will go away and it'll be amber. Now, as far as bugs go, bugs are not really attracted to LED light. So I don't really have to worry about bugs, even if I have my white light on. Depending on the LED manufacturer and the temperature range, the bugs probably won't be attracted to that. I'm going to test that next time I go camping. So actually it won't be the next time because we're still in winter and there's not really bugs around. But in the summer, I'll test that out and see if that actually works. I'm going to go into a little bit of what I like and don't like about the SPOD. Obviously, the thing I like, and what I said before, is the linking and being able to configure the switches to flash or strobe. And I have that for emergencies, and I have used that before, because when I turn all my lights on and the yellow ones are flashing and the white ones are strobing, it is a light show in here or out there. And so it's impossible not for me not to be seen. And so I like that part of it. Two things I don't like. I don't like that there's no tactile feel on this screen. And I even thought about switching this to their regular interface. And so it has more of a tactile feel. I have to look when I'm driving to turn these on. I can't just go by feel because obviously this is a flat screen and there's no feel. So I have to look where I'm clicking and I have to click it just right. So you can see that took me 2 times to turn it off. I have to hit it just right to turn it on and off. And I don't really like that. I don't like having to pay attention where this is. And that's the benefit of actually having rocker switches and stuff like that. You can do it by feel. Can't do that with this. So like I said, I've thought about switching the screen out for their other screen that is more like tactile buttons. There's also no haptic feedback on this, so you just don't know. You can't tell if besides looking at the lights, whether it's on or off. Item number 2 is this is my 3rd SPOD Bantam. First one I had for a little while and it would periodically just shut off. And so I had to return it and they sent me another one. They're very good. Their support is very good. They sent me another one and that one had a problem. And that one's problem was, I think, the temperature sensor, because periodically I'd have this on and this temperature would skyrocket immediately to max. And it was random. And so I'd be sitting there driving around with my lights on and all of a sudden they'd turn off and I'd look at the temperature and it'd be maxed out. And so there was a problem with their temperature sensor, I believe. And so they had to send me another one. So I'm on my 3rd. So that does not impress me too much. This is $800 to switch on and off lights. So I expect it to work all the time. This last one I have, the 3rd one I have, has not been a problem. This has worked both summer, winter, and like I said, no problems. So I'm happy with it now. The only thing, like I said, I might change is the interface. Actually, one more thing, going back to the things I like, I'd love having only one wire cable going from the inside of the vehicle to the SPOD Bantam under the hood. And that's very nice. It makes installation very, very easy. You could also daisy chain SPODs, Bantams, the unit itself under the hood. So I can scroll to, this would be controlling another Bantam under there if I had one. I don't, so I don't have that. And So you scroll back and forth to control different Bantams. And I think that's about it. I did have this thing mounted in other places. This just seems to be the best place, especially since I have to look at it. I would probably move this if I had the other interface where I could do it by tactile feel. I'd probably put that someplace else. I don't know where, but I'd probably put it someplace else. I did initially have this mounted, you probably can't see it, but I did have it mounted to the ceiling up here. But that was very hard to operate because I had to take my eyes completely off the road and look up at my ceiling because I had to look at where I was clicking. Anyways, I think that's about it. All right, this is the SPOD Bantam. This is where it is in my engine compartment. Ignore the mess in the engine compartment. And so this is the only cable going through the firewall and into the inside of the vehicle. And like I said before, or maybe I'll say it after, that's one of the things I like about the SPOD Bantam is just one cable going through the firewall. So that's where it is under the hood. That's mounted on top of my fuse box. Nice and easy, solid enough. And here's the switches. This thing comes right off. And there you go. That's the inside of the unit. You know it's upside down, so you're reading SPOD Bantam upside down. Hard to do this one-handed. There you go. Anyways, that's where it is under my hood. And so I'll walk you around the lights. For the front bumper lights, I have XL80s. These are all Baja Designs. For the fog lights with the amber lens, I have the Squadron Pros. I think those are Pros. They might be Sports. Let's see if I can see. Doesn't say. So they're Sports or Pros, I don't know. They're bright enough. And I have the wide cornering lens on those. I have the wide cornering lens on my XL80s. For the ditch lights, I have Squadron Sports, and those are squares, and those are the wide lenses. I'm going to walk around to the passenger side. Underneath my awning, I have two S2 Sports. And I'm going to be changing the lenses. I don't know if I'm going to put this before or after I talk about it. But I'm going to have a scene lens on both of these. This is going to be amber and this is going to be white. On the back, I have Squadron Pros. One with the amber lens, of course, and one with the white lens. The amber lens is a flood, and that is wide cornering. I do love Baja Designs. I like their lights a lot. I've never had a problem with any of my lights. I don't think I'll end up putting more lights on. This is really enough for me. I don't go out at night too much. The only thing I might change is I also might put white lights here. Not sure. Here's one thing. Let me open the hood back up. That I'm not necessarily a fan of. I'm opening this just so I can show you the connectors. These connectors, while I've never had one, actually I have. I've had one break when I tried to disconnect it because it was old and it got brittle. But I don't necessarily like these connectors a whole bunch, although they are easy to wire to different wires. Rigid Industries has better connectors in my opinion. That's the only thing I really don't like about Baja Designs. So for my lights on the back, I made a wiring harness. It goes up the side of my windshield, and obviously you can see it going back to the two lights on the back. On the passenger side, I just did this the other day. I have one cable going up, and what I didn't do on the driver's side, which I will do, is I wired in this connector. I can't remember the name of these, but these connectors are freaking awesome and totally waterproof. If I can find the name of the connector, I'll put it down here someplace. I don't know. Ignore that. Obviously, I make it a little long because I might redo this, and I might have all the passenger side lights go on this side with one wiring harness, and the driver's side with one wiring harness. Obviously, if I do that, that's because I'm going to put one light on each side. So I don't know that I necessarily need two lights on this side. But that connector it's a little bit of a pain to put together, but it is very, very solid. Anyways, that's my light setup on my 4Runner. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments and I'll answer them.